Hi guys, it's me Karen, and I'm going to do a start to finish tutorial on a card. And I'm starting here with the base, and these are the measurements. It's a little over 5 by 4 1/4, and it's already folded over. And that's just going to be the base part. And I'm going to show you some cutouts that I've already cut out, and I've already drawn a picture or colored in a stamp, so I'll tell you about that one. Right now, this is the first part of the base of the card, and it's a Spellbinders die, and I use the largest one, and it is the Decorative Labels 8, and that is the one on the bottom. And then this is a doily. There are two of them here. I'm not sure which one I'm going to use, kind of like the one I have on the card. And I got these in this package here. And there's a card in here that I'll pull out, and it's Gina's Designs. And I got that a while back. I still had some left over, so I'm going to use that underneath the main part, which is this little image that I've colored in, and that's a Cheery Baldy digital print. This is also the Decorative 8, but it's the smaller one, the second one down. And I cut out pink. And these are fancy flourishes that are in this package here, and that's the number. That's a Cherry Lynn B291. And I cut two of those out. And then this little cutie pie is a memory box die that I picked up recently. And it's the larger of the two. The small one's pretty small, and it's Precious Hearts, and the style number is right there, 9874. It was on the screen. Okay, and she was cut out with just the labels 8, and I believe that's the second from the smallest size. The decorative labels and the labels 8 fit together. This is just a little hello die cut, and that's the information that is on the screen. I'm not exactly sure where I picked that up off of eBay, I believe. These are the inks I'm going to be using, the distressed ink in the pink and also in green to darken up the edges. And I've decided I'm going to use the one doily that I had underneath. And now I will just start going ahead and inking up some of the edges. I'm going to put a piece of paper down underneath so I don't get ink all over the craft mat while I am designing the card. So let's just start with the pink, and I'll ink up the pad there. It's a Spun sugar, in case you didn't read it. And just darkening up the edges around the heart and a little bit above on the bow, just because it's very light pink cardstock that I used. The paper pad was one I had in my stash, and if I remember, I will link or write it down up here on the screen. I'm also going to go around the edges here. And I do that with the tool, but it doesn't seem to be getting very dark. Of course, it bends up a little bit. You got to be careful around the edges. They're very delicate. And so I'm just going to use the ink pad itself and darken it up as dark as I can get it. I like this shade of pink. I do have a darker ink, but it is more of a rose tone, and I wanted a bright pink to go with the digital image I colored in. So I'm going to ink up the hello too. It's on the same paper, or cut out of the same paper as that die cut I just did, but it needs to be darker to show up against everything else, and I think it needed a little bit of a brown edge to it. So it's gathered twigs I'm going to use on this and just do around the edges, around the top, and just around the bottom, just to make it stand out just a little bit more. And this is what it looks like now. It stands out better. And then we'll go with the little swirls, and I'm going to do those with the green, and that is pine needles. And I'll just kind of splat it on it here and there. Kind of gives it a nice little variegated look to it. They look really good on the black paper. When you put it on the card, it's not going to be as noticeable as when it's on the black paper here, but it's a really nice effect when you're looking at it. So now that I've got those pieces done, I've decided that she's just plain white background, and I'm going to put the dye back on top of it, and I'm going to take the spun sugar again, and I'm going to just run it around the edges and the side of that dye, and what it'll do is give me a border around the edge. And it just gives it a little more color and kind of makes it stand out a little better. Here I'm going to try to do it left-handed. This doesn't work so well. So I'll take that off. You can see it a little bit better on the right side, not so much on the other side, and I noticed that when I set it down. So I'm going to put it back on and turn it upside down so I can do it with my right hand. Get more color on it that way. And there we go. Now you can see the pretty pink on the edges. And now it is time, let's see, start putting it together. And get all my pieces out. And this piece here, I'm going to cut it in half because I want it to go up at the top and down at the bottom of the little image. And I'm going to ink up those edges, and yeah, I'm just going to use the ink pad and get it as dark as I can. Sometimes it's just easier to do it that way. Darkens it up just enough so it'll stand out on the background piece. And now I'm going to start putting it together. And I'm going to be using my ATG and just run some tape on the back of this piece. I want this piece to lay flat down on the card base. And the other pieces I will actually put up on foam tape so I can tuck some stuff underneath it. And I better make sure I'm putting this on the right way. Get it centered, or as close as I can. And now we've got I believe there's the Scott's painters, all the double-sided tape you get in the painting section at the supermarket. Well, my supermarket's Fred Meyer, so it's got a hardware section in it. And I'm going to lay 2 pieces down so she raises up and she doesn't divot down. I'm really liking the other one. That one's pretty, but I like that one. So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to cut it too to be able to fit it in there. Put a piece at the top and put a piece down at the bottom. So get out the scissors. Now these are not really made out of paper. They're kind of a thicker material, and they almost remind me of a very thin wood. So they're really nice pieces. I really like them. Used them in a couple of projects. So I will be putting this one in the corner at the bottom and then the other one up at the top. Just kind of laying it all down now to see how much of the top I want to show. And I'm also going to be putting flowers up in that corner along with the leaf piece, so I can leave it hanging out just a little bit and then cover that up with the flowers and the little flourishes here. So that's going to tuck there, and then I'm going to put one of these down at the bottom. And these are the little blossoms, cherry blossoms. I'm not sure if that's what they're called. They're Wild Orchid Craft Flowers. I'll put the links down below, or at least the name down below. And I thought I'll put a couple of them there and a couple down here. Kind of gives you an idea of how I work with cards. Kind of just start off with a color, cut out a bunch of stuff, and then just throw it down on the paper and see what I like. And that's basically what it's going to end up looking like. So we'll go ahead and take everything aside and apply the little doily pieces. And I'm just going to use the ATG on that also. It's thin enough where it'll hold it down. And everything's going to stick to each other. So I kind of want it up that high. So what's nice about these pieces is you can cut them apart and kind of make them work for you. And then these pieces that I cut out, I want to line them up on the top and the bottom of this piece here. And I'm trying to figure out if I do that with the glue, I might get them off kilter. So I'm going to go ahead and apply them to the back of the image itself. But I think the edges needed to be a little bit darker pink, so I'm just sticking them right into the ink with my finger and getting it dark enough so it can stand out a little bit better. And I'm liking that. So I'm going to tear off some of the backing. And then apply it directly onto the piece. Make sure it's lined up. And then press it down. And then I'll do the same thing with the top piece. I will tear these pieces off at the top. And then apply this piece. Now the reason I didn't take off all the tape is because I'm not real good at placing these pieces, and if I took off all the tape it would have stuck down probably where I didn't want it. So at least this way I had a little give with the backing. I do have to work at it here to get the the backing off of the pieces now, but it's okay. I'd rather bend this piece on the back than having to rip it off to have to restart with the drawing. Okay, so now that's all attached, and because there is a space in between, that is what I'm going to tack her down with. I get her centered, and then just press down in the middle of her to get her to stick down in the center. And now it's time to work on the little flourishes. The whole piece won't quite fit there, but the nice thing about these is you can just kind of rip them apart where you need them. They have that nice little stem down there that you can break, and then you can put it on there. And I'm going to go ahead and lay it a little bit on top of the card there, because I'm going to put the flowers on and it'll cover up that little stem piece. It'll end up looking nice. The little flowers have got that little stamen in it with a little piece of metal, and they have to be cut down pretty far to lay flat on the card. So that's a good placement for that. And of course I'm not going to throw away the little pieces, so I'm going to use those also. So I can put one underneath, and then I'll put this one on the side, and I'll also rip it at the same spot and use that one down there. Now I'm going to go ahead and glue these down. Let's try to figure out which way I wanted that one to go. I want it to come down that way, so I can put a little cluster of flowers on that too. So I have this Zig glue pen. It's got like a ball point on it, and you give the center piece there a little squish, and then it just rolls the glue on it. And the glue kind of shows up blue so you know where it's going, but it dries clear, which is nice for these little teeny intricate pieces that you have to try to get glue on. So that's what I did, is I just stuck it on there. I have those swirl at the top that lays over the top and goes down onto the bottom. This piece is going to give me problems. I get it all nicely glued. I get it placed down there. Yeah, just wait. So I lay this piece down where I wanted it. Get it all nicely glued down. Then I pull this piece out, and the other piece went with it. It's nice I have the glue little spots on there, so I knew exactly where to put it back. So I'll get that on there again, and then I will glue this piece. Very sticky, by the way. So that one gets tucked underneath. And then just lay it down. That glue dries really fast too. That's a nice thing. So I'm going to place the flowers now. I'm going to use my my glue gun for that. Trusty thing. It's on a cord, so it doesn't go too far. And then we'll just put a couple of sweetheart blossoms, I believe is what these are called. And glue strings get all over the place. So put a couple of those up at the top up here. Oh, sorry, my husband's yelling. Have you heard that? So I'll put the two up here at the top and try to get rid of some of the glue strings. I'll get rid of them at the end of the, after I've glued everybody on. Trying to decide if I want another one up there. I do want a couple down at the bottom. And I don't know if you can tell, the drawing is all done with colored pencils, but I also used a bit of glitter on her. And I have a flower that's sitting on my desk that I've had for a while that has glitter on it also. It's a bigger flower. And I thought it would look really cute with her, so I'm going to attach that down here at the bottom also. It's also from Wild Orchid Crafts. It's one of their little roses. Well, big roses. I think it's a trellis rose. I'll have to look that one up. So then I'll stick another little Sweetheart Blossom down here at the bottom. More nice strings from my glue gun. That makes a nice little cluster down there, and I think I will stick this little guy in there too. Well, can't waste it. It'll look cute in there. Tuck it right under while the glue is still hot. And there it comes in. Oh, that's pretty. Now we need to get the hello on there. So I will go ahead and use the zig pen, and it's connected with all the glues strings. So I guess I'll be cleaning that up right now. Oh, and it got all over the pen too. Yeah, disasters of working with a glue gun. So now I'll just try to clean that up a little better. Sorry about that. And I'm going to try to use it here, except for, I believe, it's the roller will get a little stuck. So all I do is run it on the paper there, and it'll start to work again. And I'll tap it all over down the main parts and up on the edges. It's just a nice little pen. I love having that for these nice little dies. Now there's one thing that I don't think is going to be showing up here when I lay this down, because the main image is up on the foam tape. The O on the side doesn't sit flush on the ground, so I'm going to have to get some foam tape and stick underneath that O. And what I do is I just take a very thin piece of that and I cut it. It's going to go flying. Whee! I had to go find it. And then I'm going to take a little tiny piece of it off. Now I have to do this twice, so there's actually 2 layers of this. So I take one little piece, and then I'm going to use a pair of tweezers. And I'm going to stick that down, but I do use another little piece and put on it also so that the O will stay standing up. I know that's not on the film, sorry. So I put it underneath the O, and there are 2 of them there now. So it sits up the same height as the image. And that is the card. I also attached the heart up there, the memory box heart. That little piece got left out too. I put a little piece on the inside to write my sentiment on. And that is the card. Thanks guys for watching. Here it is all by itself. Have a great day, guys. Bye.